Okay, for number 3, it's asking us to do graphing by transformations. So notice that we have our 4 grids that are provided, and this is the same that you'd see on a test. And this is similar to what we did before on previous exams in this class. We want to show each successive transformation starting from the base graph all the way to the end, and the correct number of grids will be provided for how many transformations you have to do with this particular problem. Okay, so this is the problem that we're needing to do here. Now we don't have to worry about rearranging x or anything like that. It's already written in the proper form for us. Since the x comes first, there's no negative in front of it. So we can just immediately start graphing it. Now the number down below is a 3, so that means that this is the type of base graph that we're going to use. We're going to use y equals 3 to the x. Now what we know about this graph is we know it crosses the y-axis at 0, 1. It has a horizontal asymptote and it climbs up and looks something like this. Now, if it's 2 to the x, 3 to the x, e to the x, that's all going to look exactly the same as this one. I'm not looking for that accuracy as to how steep it is. The only difference between the 3 to the x graph and the 2 to the x graph, maybe the 2 to the x graph may go up not quite as fast as the 3 to the x graph or 4 to the x. But again, I'm not looking for that accuracy because the only way you can show that accuracy is by plotting points, which defeats the whole purpose of doing it with transformations. So you can just start with this one. As long as you show it going through the point 0, 1, that is the most important thing. So that's our key point that we're going to use, and we'll see that being transformed as we go through these other graphs. Okay, so that's complete. So now we're going to take care of the, we're going to just look at the exponent part only. So I'm going to do y equals 3 to the x minus 2. Now what that's going to do, it's going to take the whole graph and it moves it opposite direction of the number you see after the x. It's going to move it 2 places over to the right. So it was at 0, 1. What that's going to do is move it over to 2, 1. So it takes that point and moves it 2 places over to the right. Now nothing else changes. There's no flips or anything we're doing here. So the shape's going to look exactly the same as the original one. So it's going to follow this. It's going to hit that point and go up. So again, it's going to look exactly the same as the original one. It's just shifted over 2 places. Next, let's take care of the negative sign that's out front. So we're going to do y equals negative 3 to the x minus 2. Now what that'll do is, because there's a negative on the outside, it flips the graph over the horizontal axis. So remember, if there's a negative up here on top, it's this kind of flip over the vertical axis, but because the negative is out front, we're going to flip it over the horizontal axis. So what will happen is this point that's up here at 2, 1, instead what will happen is that's going to flip over and go down this way. It's still going to have a horizontal asymptote, but now what it'll do is it'll come this way and it's going to now fall instead of going up. Now the very last one we have is we have a plus 3, which means that we're going to take this graph, we're going to raise it up 3 places. So it was here, go up 3. So we're horizontal asymptote, that's going to go up 3 and end up being here. This point is also going to move up 3. So instead of it being at 2, negative 1, it's now going to be at 2, 2. And so that's going to now look something like this. Now where exactly it crosses the y-axis or x-axis, again, I'm not looking for that particular accuracy because you have to use algebra to do it. You could do that. If you wanted to find out exactly where it crossed, all you would have to do is put a 0 in for y and you would solve that. And you can, since they both have the same base, you could easily do that and do equal basis property. But again, I'm not asking that in this one. I'm just looking for the general sketch. So this right here would be what your final graph looks like.